Well, I think we should just kind of set a baseline because, I've been in this space for 20 years and we were talking beforehand. There's a lot of social media experts out there, and some of these people only have like 2, 3, 4 years. And there's a lot of talks about hacks and tricks and frequency. But the number one thing is it's just storytelling. People forget that social media is just another storytelling medium. And the people that win at social media are the ones that tell the best stories. Now, as we know from doing this for decades, telling a great story is not necessarily easy, but it is simple in terms of what drives success. So I want everybody to just forget about algorithms, tricks, hacks, how many times you post, and let's just get to the core of what tells a great story.
Well, I can certainly back that comment up because people ask me, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, I just write a story and I don't really care what the algorithm is doing or what the new features are because story transcends all. And you can layer on top certain, whatever the hack of the day is, but at the core of it, the foundation part of your post should be a really good, compelling story. So do you have a formula for like what makes a good story?
Yeah, and I think that the first place that I want people to start is people are endlessly scrolling social media. We all use social media, but we're using it more from a passive perspective. And I just want the audience to make this active creator mindset shift. Actually starting to look at content to start saying like, oh, this has 10 million views. Like, why does that have 10 million views? Oh, this only has 1,000 views. Why does it have 1,000 views? And what I really want them to start looking at is what we call formats. And what is a format? It's a storytelling blueprint or structure that has been used repeatably over and over again. So one of the things that we created at Hookpoint is called the Hookpoint Format Finder. So let's just say that you're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram Reels and you see a video that has 10 million views. Well, you want to click on that creator's profile and go, have they used that same structure at least 5 or 10 times? Because they haven't, it's not a blueprint for success. It's either a trend or maybe they got lucky. So we really want to make that shift from passive to active to understand that there's this thing called formats. Because most people, as they're creating content, what do? Is they're just jumping to idea, to idea, to idea. They're not looking for like, what is the blueprint? So for example, I started my career in the movie industry. Now the interesting thing about the movie industry, almost every movie over the past 100 years has used the same format. And that is the 3-act structure. They don't deviate from it. Why? Because it works. Now in social media, there's hundreds of these formats. At Hookpoint, we've spent 10,000 hours. To date, we have about 300 formats in our library. We hope to have about 500 by the end of the year. And I just say that because there's so many options out there. So that first step in terms of that blueprint is just making that shift to understand there are these things called blueprints, and then going through and identifying them.
So what you're saying is, and this is a Jim Rohn quote, success leaves clues. When you see something that works, go and figure it out. Don't just be passively consuming, be an active learner. Look at their profile, see if they've used this multiple times and see what the commonality is between what they're doing and figure out what the format is. And you to date have discovered over 300 formats and hopefully by the end of the year, 200 more that you're going to figure out, right?
Yeah, and you know what the fascinating thing is about some of these formats? People think that social media is like this new and innovative thing, that it's so original. But if you look at some of the top formats and top creators, they're using storytelling structures that were invented pre-social media. So let's go through a few. Man on the Street. A lot of people use Man on the Street. We have like Alex Stemp that uses it for photography. We have School of Hard Knocks that uses it for business advice. We have Body by Mark that uses it for fitness. It's used in all these different sectors. The Man on the Street format was invented in 1954 in the first season of The Tonight Show. And it's been around ever since. Another one that's popular is called Two Characters, One Light Bulb, where it's the same person that plays 2 different characters. So we have like Erica Kohlberg that uses it to break down what happens when your flight gets delayed or your AirPods break, or Mark Tilbury does it for finance. If we think back to 1997 in Austin Powers, he was doing Austin Powers and Dr. Evil and doing this banter back and forth. You think about Mr. Beast. He does these challenge videos. Well, you go back to 1995 when they had the Road Rules challenges on MTV, or in 2000 where Mark Burnett introduced Survivor. So you have all of these examples of storytelling formats working pre-social media. So that's where it just shows you again that it's not about these tips or tricks or hacks. It's just how do we become a masterful storyteller? And that's why you see some of these structures play out over decades. Why? Because they work.